Imagine yourself in the midst of a battle during the final years of the Roman Empire. The clash of shields echoes through the air. The gleam of armor reflects the fury of combat, and the war cries of soldiers fill the battlefield. In the heat of the fight, before the enemy even comes close, a rain of small projectiles cuts through the sky and crashes down upon them. These are not arrows nor spears. They are the deadly plumbata, an invisible and silent weapon capable of felling warriors before they even draw their swords. With a simple flick of the arm, Roman legionaries turned the sky into a storm of steel, launching dozens of lethal projectiles that brought down their foes before they had a chance to react. Few realized that it was the plumbata that helped Roman legions maintain their dominance for longer, adapting to a world in flux. This weapon reshaped the empire's tactics and instilled fear in entire armies. But what made the plumbata so lethal? How did it work? Prepare to uncover the secret of the plumbata, the most devastating weapon of the Roman legions. For centuries, the Roman legions formed the backbone of an empire stretching from Britannia to Egypt, from the deserts of Syria to the forests of Germania. Soldiers trained from youth marched side by side, shields raised, swords ready to cut, and spears poised to strike. Heavy infantry was the foundation of the army. Every general relied on the discipline of his troops, who advanced like a living wall of iron and shields, pushing the enemy toward collapse. This was how Rome conquered kingdoms and crushed armies. But then the empire began to change. The enemies evolved. They no longer played by Roman rules. They became more mobile, more unpredictable. Instead of marching in orderly lines, they struck in rapid, violent waves, exploiting any weakness. Mounted warriors attacked and vanished before the infantry could retaliate. The assaults were unpredictable, the borders constantly under threat, and the old Roman model of warfare started to crumble. The answer came in a radical shift in military structure. Fewer heavy, rigid soldiers and more light, mobile units. Cavalry took on a crucial role, and the legions were reorganized into smaller, more flexible groups capable of responding with speed and efficiency. But this new approach brought a problem: how to maintain range and lethality without compromising mobility. The answer came in the form of a silent but devastating innovation: a lightweight, easily transportable weapon capable of killing from a distance. The plumbata. Its design was simple yet extremely effective. It consisted of a lightweight wooden shaft, measuring between 30 and 50 centimeters, with a sharp metal tip capable of piercing armor and shields with ease. But the true game-changer of the plumbata was the lead weight strategically placed near the upper part of the shaft. This small detail transformed an ordinary dart into a devastating projectile. The added weight gave the plumbata stability in the air, allowing it to spin as it flew, increasing the accuracy of its impact. And when it struck its target, the force of the impact was amplified by the acceleration generated by the lead, making it even more destructive. But how was this weapon used on the battlefield? Legionaries did not carry plumbata darts loosely in their hands. Each soldier carried at least 5 of them. They were transported strategically, attached to the back of their shields in leather holsters. These holsters were designed for quick and efficient access, meaning that even under attack, a soldier could grab a plumbata and throw it without exposing his body to the enemy. The throwing technique was different from that of a regular spear. Instead of a direct forward motion, soldiers held the plumbata by its shaft and launched it in an upward arc, using a vertical overhand movement. This method maximized the force of impact, ensuring that the plumbata gained altitude before descending, spinning towards the enemy with its full lethal potential. If it struck the chest or neck, the impact was strong enough to pierce light armor and weaken shields. If it embedded itself in an arm or leg, its angled tip made it almost impossible to remove without causing even more damage. Moreover, the plumbata had a range of up to 80 meters, far surpassing the distance of the pilum and allowing legionaries to strike their enemies long before they could get close enough to retaliate. And the most impressive part? Unlike the pilum, which was disposable after its first use, the plumbata could be retrieved and reused. In a prolonged battle, legionaries could collect the thrown darts, ensuring a continuous supply of projectiles for the massacre. But the devastation caused by this weapon wasn't just about the lethality of a single projectile. The true terror began when hundreds of plumbata were launched simultaneously. On the battlefield, the first sign of the massacre didn't come from the ground, it came from the sky. Before the enemy could react, a cloud of spinning darts sliced through the air, falling at deadly speed upon their ranks. This rain of projectiles was fast, unpredictable, and impossible to stop. Shields weren't enough to withstand the force of impact, and those who tried to protect themselves by raising their shields over their heads often exposed their bodies to further attacks. Panic spread before the first clash of armies even took place. What was once an organized formation quickly turned into a mass of wounded soldiers, desperately trying to escape the bombardment. Fear gripped the battlefield, and the Roman advantage became overwhelming. Its impact wasn't just on the pierced bodies, but also on the terrified minds of those who watched their comrades fall before the battle even began. No wonder the Romans called it Martio Barili, directly associating it with Mars, the god of war. With this weapon, the Roman legions won battles before the enemy even had a chance to fight. The efficiency of this weapon was not a matter of chance, but the result of a carefully crafted design aimed at maximizing destruction. Every detail of the plumbata was engineered to ensure that its impact was not only lethal but irreversible. Over time, different versions were developed, each with specific features that enhanced its lethality and adaptability on the battlefield. The most well-known and widely used version was the plumbata mammal, a model designed to maximize impact and internal damage. But this was not the only variation of this devastating weapon. Rome understood that war required adaptation, and thus, an even more brutal variant emerged: the plumbata tribat. The tribat had additional tips, making it far more than just a throwing weapon. It could also be cast onto the ground and used as a defensive obstacle, similar to a spike trap. Imagine an enemy army advancing rapidly, relying on the sheer force of its charge to break through Roman defenses. Suddenly, the ground turns into a minefield of razor-sharp blades, burying themselves into the feet and legs of warriors who dare to continue their march. The result? Chaos. Soldiers collapsed, incapacitated, and the enemy formation fell apart. The advance lost momentum. The cavalry hesitated. Every step could mean a crippling injury. The Romans used this weapon to shape the battlefield to their advantage. Whether it was an open-field battle or an ambush in a narrow valley, if they needed to halt an approaching enemy, all they had to do was scatter the ground with plumbata tribat. The effectiveness of the plumbata did not go unnoticed. Its repeated use and devastating impact made it a key component of the Roman arsenal, ensuring its place not only on the battlefield, but also in historical records. After all, such a lethal and innovative weapon could never be ignored by the strategists of the time. Its existence and impact were recorded in one of the most important military documents from the final years of the Roman Empire, the De Rebus Bellicis. This military treatise, written by an anonymous author in the 4th century AD, details the technological and tactical innovations employed by the Romans in their efforts to counter the wave of barbarian invasions threatening the empire. Among the strategies mentioned, the plumbata stands out. The records in the De Rebus Bellicis confirm that legionaries were trained to carry and throw plumbata darts with extreme precision, adding a new dimension to Roman warfare. This military treatise emphasizes the importance of equipping soldiers with at least 5 plumbata attached to the inside of their shields, allowing them to be drawn and thrown quickly without breaking formation. What does this mean? It means that the Plumbata was not just a passing experiment. It was officially adopted, standardized, and widely used by the Roman army during its final centuries. This historical record not only proves its use, but also demonstrates how the Roman military recognized the need to adapt to new battlefield realities. The Plumbata was more than just a weapon of war. It symbolized Rome's ability to adapt, innovate, and reshape the battlefield to its advantage. For centuries, the Roman legions imposed their dominance through tactical intelligence and superior weaponry, and the Plumbata was one of the tools that prolonged the empire's survival in the face of mounting challenges. But in the end, not even the best strategies or the deadliest weapons could prevent the fall of Rome. Changes in warfare tactics, the rise of new armies, and the internal fragmentation of the empire led to the decline of the legions and with them, the disappearance of the Plumbata. Now, imagine yourself as a Roman legionary. Would you prefer to wield your gladius or rely on the Plumbata? I want to hear your opinion. Leave a comment and let me know which weapon you choose on the battlefield. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the video on your screen now to discover the secrets of Roman military camps. See you in the next video.